Okay, today we are going to look at multiplying and using models, expanded form. So multiplying decimals. Is what I want you to title your page. And we are just going to take some notes in our notes section, okay? We're just going to write some notes out. So if my first problem is going to be, if you read it this way, it says 8 times 7.2. Whenever you're multiplying, it really does not matter which number you that goes on top, but Miss Webster always puts the longer number, the number with most digits, regardless of a decimal, on the top. So I would write this out, 7.2 times 8. Okay? There's no decimal in 8, and if I don't see a decimal, we know it goes at the back of him. Then I'm just going to multiply out like normal. 8 times 2 is 16, carry the 1. 8 times 7, that's one that y'all struggle with a lot. What is 8 times 7? Okay, 8 times 7. I want you to know these. 56 plus the 1, 57. Okay, this part y'all get. It is the decimal. It does not just fall down. You have to count it. This is called a factor. This is called a factor. So in this factor, it's 1 over. So I'm going to put a 1 right here. This factor, there's no digits behind it. So I'm going to put a 0 right there. And that means in my answer, I'm going to add these together. My answer, I've got 1 decimal over. So it's going to go right here. Okay, let's try another one. 3 times 1.45. Well, again, Miss Webster always puts the longer number. I don't know why that keeps fading out. The longer number, or the one with the most digits, on the top. So I'm going to rewrite this. 1.45, or 1 45 hundredths, times 3. That would be like if it was money, $1.45 times 3. Okay. Well, 3 times 5 is 15. Carry your 1. 3 times 4 is 12 plus 1 is 13. Carry your 1. 1 times 3 is 3 plus 1 is 4. Again, my decimal does not just fall down. I look and he goes 1, 2, and none here, none there. So I'm going to move over 2 because if I add those together, it gives me 2 decimals. 1, 2. I know that it looks like he falls down, but he does not. When you multiply or divide, you count him. All right, let's try one more. Let's do 2 more, actually. Let's do 6 times 0.79, and then I want you to try 9 times 8.6. So write them. So I want you to pause the video right now and write them the way that you would write them. Remember the longer number on top, just so it makes it easier. And then I want you to multiply and then come back and check your answer. All right, so here are my answers. Again, you're checking those two. We took this number right here. This is our problem, and then we wrote it out where the longer number, the one with the most digits, was on top. And then we multiplied, and again, we counted our decimal. We did not drop it, okay? All right, now I would like you to go to these in your Ziploc bag and go to a nice fresh page. So keep that one the way it is because you will, we may have room to put something there. But on your nice fresh page, I would like you to turn the page that says steps this way. So let me show you what that looks like in my notebook. And then this one beside it, and then we'll do this one down here, the other one. So that is what my notebook's going to look like. I want you to then take this steps page, and I want you to cut, watch carefully, do not cut all the way up. Cut just to right there, to cut so we can flip those steps open, but leaving this solid so that that's what we're going to glue with in a moment, okay? So we'll glue that down, and then we'll write the steps underneath it, and then we'll glue this down to work the problem out. So what this is talking about is really the expanded form. We are taking, let's look at this number. We are asking what's 46 times 9.8. What they're doing is this 4 is worth $40 if we're talking about money, right? Because my decimal is here. So the 4 is in the tens place. So 4 tens is 40. So they wrote 40 right here. And then that 6 is 6 ones. So they split, they expanded, they split those place values to 40 and then 6. They did the same thing. 9 ones, and they're multiplying. And then 0.8 would be 8 tenths. So they split those up by place value. Okay. And then they are simply going to multiply each of them, get their partial products, and then add them up. So let's look. I'm going to turn my book right now. And I'm going to flip open step 1. Okay. And I'll glue that down in a little bit, but I want to make sure I write underneath it and all that correctly first. So the first step is going to be rewrite the factors in expanded form. Rewrite, and I really should have wrote with pencil here, the factors in expanded form. So that's going to be step 1. And then when we glue this in a little bit, that's going to cover that. Okay. So it may be beneficial to go ahead and put just a few dots of glue on that. Hold on one sec. So if I go ahead and put, and I'm telling you just a dot, not much at all, because you don't want it to seep over onto your writing. Okay. So I'm just going to glue that right down, and that way my door is still open. Okay. So then step 1 can close. Step 2, I'm going to flip that open. Step 2 is to multiply to find the area of each section. So multiply to find the area of each section. And again, a fat marker is not going to work for writing right here, so I would suggest you use your pencil if you don't have skinny markers in your bag. Okay. And then step 3 is going to be add the partial product. So I'm going to put down step 2, open up step 3, and then add the partial products. Remember, when you multiply, you get a product. Okay. And then that's going to close right back over that. I'm going to let that dry. All right. So I'm going to turn this back this way. And I'm going to, again, I'm going to write on this before I glue it. And what I'm really doing is I'm saying, okay, if this is 40 long, it's not, but if it's 40 long and this is 9, to find the area, I would multiply. That's how we find the area of a rectangle. We multiply the length times the width, and we know that. So we're just going to simply multiply 40 times 9. Well, if you need scratch paper to do that, okay, so I could come over here and actually, this is where this side will come in handy over here. So let me give you a full shot of that. I would go ahead and do a line across here and use this bottom of this page over here as scratch paper if you need to. So 40 times 9, I am going to come right over here, 40 times 9. Well, 9 times 0 I know is 0, and then 9 times 4 is going to be what? 36. So that gives me 360 right there. So in that square back over here, I'm going to write 360. That is the area of just that square. Okay. Now I'm going to multiply the 40 times the 0.8. Again, over here on my scratch paper side, I'm going to come right over here. And both of them have 2 digits, so it doesn't matter which one I put on top. But I'm going to go ahead and put the 40 times 0.8. That decimal is so important, okay? Where's the decimal in 40? If I don't see it, it's at the end. So 8 times 0 is 0. 8 times 4 is what? 32, okay? I'm not done. I have another number. I can put a placeholder that's going to be 0 and 0, add those up just like normal, and then my decimal is 1 back. There's no decimal here, so in my answer, I've got to go 1 back. Again, I know that it looks like it falls down, but it does not. You count it. So if I have 32.0, that 0 can go away. Really, that's just 32. So 40 times 0.8 is 32. What in the world? How in the world is my answer? If I'm multiplying 40 times a number and I get a number smaller, well, that's because you multiplied by less than 1 whole. You multiplied by the decimal number, 0.8, or 8/10, less than 1 whole, like 8 dimes, okay? So then the next part that I'm going to do is I'm going to come to this square and find the area. Well, 6 times the 9. Well, we should just all know that one. 6 times 9 is 54 right here. And then I've got to do 6 times 0.8. I may not know that one, and I need to make sure my decimal's in the right spot. So I'm going to come over here to my scratch paper. I'm going to do 0.8 times 6. Well, I do know that 8 times 6 is 48, carry the 4, okay? And then 6 times 0 is 0 plus 4. And then again, my decimal does not fall. He is counted. It's 1 back. It's none back here, so it goes 1 back in my answer. So here I have 4.8. And then my last step, so I did step 1. I wrote it in expanded form. I expanded it out by place value. I found the area of each square. And then step 3 is to add all the products together. So I'm simply going to come here and go, okay, 360 plus 32 plus 54 plus 4.8. Does it matter if I go 360 plus 54 and then this way? No, because it's all addition. So it does not matter what order you go in. I'm going to again go over to my scratch paper, and I'm going to do 360 plus 32. When I add, I must line up the what? I must line up those decimals. So decimals at the end, decimals at the end, decimals at the end, decimals there. Okay, so 360, 32, 54, 4.8. Oh, what happened? Oh my goodness, I have to move that over because I have to line up decimals when I add, okay? And then I can plug in zeros here. So I have 8 plus a bunch of zeros is 8. Decimal comes down. Decimals fall when you add and subtract. They are counted when you multiply or divide. 4 plus 4 is 8, 9, 10. Put your 0, carry your 1. Well, 6 and 6 is 12, 13, 14, 15. Put your 5, carry your 1. 3 plus 1 is 4. So my final answer here is 450 and 8/10. So right up here, 46 times 9.8, I'm going to put equals 450.8 and 8/10. Okay, then I'm going to put a couple dots of glue on that and glue that into my math log. All right, we're going to try another one. This one I'm going to have you try by yourself. So we're going to glue this one right here. Leave a little bit of room so you can write your numbers in there, because all you really need at the bottom is room to write your actual addition problem. So go ahead and put me a squiggly line across here so that we know we're at a new problem. I am going to give you a new problem, and you are going to work that out for me. Okay, so here I want you to take, our problem is going to be, and let me write that in marker so it shows up really nicely for you. Our problem is going to be 19 times 0.75. So step 1 is expanded form. And again, I'm not gluing this down because I don't want glue on the back of where I'm writing. I'll do that after I write on it. So I'm trying to figure out what this equals. Well, step 1 is expanded form. So let's look at this. 19 in expanded form would be what? 10 plus 9, right? Expanded form. Notation would be with the multiplication. We're not doing notation. We're doing expanded form. So I have right here on this side 10 and 9. Okay, so this checks off this one. Then I have 0.75 expanded form. I don't need to do anything with the 0, but it's 0.7 plus, well, what place value is that in? The hundredths, so plus 5, so 7/10 plus 5/100. Because if I add those together, it gives me 0.75. So up top here, I'm going to do 0.7. I'm going to do, which is 7/10, and then I'm going to do 5/100. Okay? And it's important that in a minute when you glue this down, you glue it down where it has room right there. And I'm going to flip this around so I have my bigger one right here and my smaller one there. Okay? So bigger square on this side and the smaller one over there. All right. So now I'm going to, again, my scratch paper is, I'm going to use this side over here, and I'm going to multiply those out so that you can see that. So the first one is I'm going to find the area of 10 times, or 10 times 7/10. So I'm just 10 times 0.7. Well, 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 1 is 7. If I multiply by that 0, 0 times 0 is 0. 0 times 1 is 0. Gives me 0, 7, 0, same thing. My decimal is none here, 1 here, so it goes 1 back. So I get 7. All right. Also remember that this is what we did yesterday. If I'm multiplying by 10 or 100 or 1,000, a number with 1 and zeros, I am getting bigger, so I can move that decimal that direction. So it indeed becomes 7. Okay? And again, my decimal could be there if I needed the decimal in there. All right, the next one is going to be to multiply your 5/100 times 10. So 10 times 0.05. And I dropped that 0 off in the front because I have my decimal already right there. So 5 times 0 is 0. 5 times 1 is 5. Move over. 0 and 0. That gives me 0, 5, 0. This time my decimal is none here, but 1, 2. 1, 2. So 0.5. And I could do 0.50. That's like 50 cents, right? This is like $7, 7 in the ones because my decimal is right there. So again, I multiplied by 1/10. So what I did is I took that decimal and it got bigger because I multiplied by 10, power of 10, and it just moved that way 1 time to give me 0.5. Okay? So then the next step is to find the area of the 9 times 7/10. So I'm going to put that 0.7 on top just because it has 2 numbers and I want it on top, times 9. Well, I have to first figure out 9 times 7, okay? 9 times 7 is 63, carry your 6. 9 times 0 is 0 plus the 6. And then again, my decimal, if I don't see it, goes at the end. So I count it, 1 and then none, so it goes 1 over. So I get 6.3. I know that's really strange, huh? So 9 times 7. So if I give you 70 cents 9 times, right, 7 dimes, you're going to get $6.30 out of that, okay? All right, the next step is going to be your 5/100 times 9. So again, I'm going to put that 0.05, and I can put a 0 there, times 9. Well, 9 times 5 is 45, carry your 4. 9 times 0 is 0 plus the 4. 9 times 0 is 0. And then my decimal is 1, 2 over, none there, so 1, 2. So I'm going to get 0.45. All right. So again, I want you to pause the video, and I want you to go ahead and figure out how to add those up, making sure that you're lining up those decimals. All right. So what it should have looked like is 7 plus 0.5 or 5 plus 6.3 plus 0.45. And what does that equal? Well, I'm going to, and here I am going to go ahead and add that up right here. So I have 7, and I could make it $7 if I want. I'm going to glue that in just a second, plus 0.5 or 0.5, right? Then I need to plug that 0 in there. I then have 6.3. Check it off, check it off, check it off. And then 0.45. 0.45. Uh-oh, I have some blanks. I need to plug in zeros. Okay, and then just simply add those up. That gives me 5. That gives me 7. 7 plus 5 is going to give me what? 12. Put the 2, carry the 1. 7 and 7 is 14. And then my decimal does fall down whenever I am adding. Okay, so up here with my answer, I'm going to put it is 14.25 or $14.25 or 14 and 25 hundredths. 14.25 or 14 and 25 hundredths. So now at this point, you can glue this in to that spot right there. And then you are going to go to your Try Me. So you have Try Me 3.3, just front and back. And then Try Me 3.4. And it looks like a lot because this is just simple multiplication, okay? So I really want you to do the 3.3 first, okay? And then go to your 3.4 Try Me.